Big news out of Sunday was the Patriots signed former NFL MVP Cam Newton, and the question, how good does he actually make them? So Bill Belichick inked Cam Newton to a one-year, $1.5 million deal with a guarantee of $550,000 and the potential earnings incentive up to $7.5 million for the 2020 NFL season. A low-risk contract brings a potential high reward for the New England Patriots, losing former franchise quarterback Tom Brady this past offseason. And really the question is going to be, how good can Cam Newton make the New England Patriots? And it really comes down to the weapons he's working with, as well as his overall athletic ability. Cam Newton very likely going to be walking in a pretty healthy Cam Newton for the first time in a few years, having shoulder surgeries and a number of other injuries along the way while he was with the Carolina Panthers. But after having the majority of the last couple of seasons to really recover, to really get healthy, we could see a very energized, enthusiastic, and athletically sound Cam Newton stepping under center for the New England Patriots. But looking around the roster, let's take a glance at the tools he has around him, starting with the wide receiver room. 34-year-old slot receiver Julian Edelman, one of the best route runners in the NFL, is likely going to be Cam Newton's most reliable weapon down the stretch, a really underneath intermediate route runner who finds a way to get open and is a very strong executor. But at the same time, you gotta realize the dude is 34, nearing the end of his career. Now we look around elsewhere in the receiver room, we have Mohamed Sanu, who's a veteran wide receiver, can really run those intermediate routes. Didn't spend a lot of time in New England last season. This is more of a prove-it year for him, as well as the perennial number 2 wide receiver in that offense. And then number 3 in the offense at the wide receiver spot is N'Keal Harry, the first-round pick of the Patriots last year out of Arizona State. He didn't have a lot of time to even play in the offense last year, putting up a few touchdowns, a few receptions, and being really versatile within the Patriots offense last year. But if he can stay healthy and he really develops well into this offense, I can see N'Keal Harry becoming the number 2 wide receiver, very much so a down-the-field deep threat for Cam Newton. And I think that if N'Keal Harry can play well, if he can play up to his potential and keep developing and trending in the right direction, N'Keal Harry could be one of the most surprising players this year. Glancing over at the running back room, number 1 on the roster is James White, more of a catch the ball out of the backfield type of guy, really good in the passing game, not too shabby between the tackles. James White and Sony Michel are going to be splitting time, getting the majority of the load. Sony Michel, though, a little bit of hesitance here because he's coming off of another surgery, some more work on his legs this offseason. So Sony Michel's situation is something to keep an eye on. His first couple of seasons have amassed over 900 yards. His yards per carry dropped last season, so we're gonna see if he can trend upwards or downwards through the 2020 season. And then Rex Burkhead, a pretty versatile, do-it-all kind of running back with some injury history as well. And then the complete unknown out of the backfield is Damian Harris, the Alabama running back the Patriots took in the later rounds of the draft last year. Then taking a look at the tight end room, you have David Asiasi out of UCLA and Dalton Keene out of Virginia Tech, both being drafted this past draft. And then the only returning tight end from last season is Matt Lacoste, who didn't see a ton of action either. So a lot of questions out of the tight end room, a lot of uncertainty as to where they're going to play, what their role is going to be, and how effective they're going to be down the stretch. And then taking a look at the offensive line, a pretty solid group here, started by Joe Thuney, the second-team All-Pro last year. David Andrews coming back off of an IR season with blood clots, but when he's on the field, it makes a huge difference for that offensive line. Right guard Shaq Mason, at his worst, is a really solid right guard, great in the running scheme. And right tackle Marcus Cannon, a reliable, savvy vet on the right side of the offensive line. The biggest question mark here is the left side of the offensive line with Isaiah Wynn, the former first-round pick out of Georgia. Can he stay on the field? He's only played 8 games in the past 2 seasons. His first season spent it all on injured reserve. Last year playing 8 games here and there throughout the season. When he has been on the field, he has looked really good, really promising, but it's just a matter of keeping him on the field. The best ability you have in the NFL is availability. And then a quick glance at the defense. The strongest part of the defense has remained during this past offseason. The secondary, still having guys like Devin McCourty and Stephon Gilmore around. The linebacking situation, losing a couple of savvy players in Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins during the offseason. The defensive line, Chase Winovich, looks to be a potentially promising young player for them. But pass rush and then outside is going to be the key points of emphasis for the defense and the success. The secondary is going to do its best, right? The secondary can only do but so much. At the NFL level, covering for somebody for over 5 seconds is a challenge. And if the Patriots want to be successful on defense, getting after the quarterback seems to be what's going to work for them. And letting their secondary pay off the big pass rush by getting a lot of turnovers and pass deflections and things of that nature. So taking all of those things into account, Cam Newton's success could very well be, entirely upon his ability to maximize the players around him. Tom Brady didn't even want to stick around with this cast and crew on offense, so Cam Newton's going to have a lot to prove this season as far as his own abilities, but to maximize the potential of the offense around him, he's going to have to work very closely with offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels to figure out what's going to work best for him. They're going to have to drop some different plays, but Cam Newton's athletic ability and his ability to extend plays outside of the pocket and his ability to, rush and take advantage of gaps in the defense is what's going to add a different dimension to the Patriots offense this year. I think that Cam Newton brings a special style of quarterback versatility that the Patriots haven't seen in, 2 decades. So bringing in that ability, bringing in that potentially very healthy Cam Newton could very well make the Patriots offense really scary, but also we're not sure how things are gonna work at the end of the day. So with Cam Newton under center, I think the Patriots have a better chance at winning more games this season. With Jarrett Stidham starting at quarterback potentially, before the signing, I didn't think the Patriots were gonna win more than potentially 6 games this upcoming season. It's mostly just an unknown factor with Stidham. The one time he saw action during the regular season last year threw a pick 6, so not really promising there. But Cam Newton, we have an idea of his ability, right? He's a former NFL MVP. I think Cam Newton could very well elevate the Patriots to around 9 wins this upcoming season, very well battling for the AFC East title along with Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are still kind of my favorites to win the division, but Cam Newton adds an entirely new wrinkle into the plans of all the teams around the AFC East. If it pays off well for the New England Patriots, they could very well continue their dominance over the AFC East. But this year in the division, it's going to be really, really challenging. And when it comes to predicting Cam Newton's stat line, I think Cam's going to be passing a lot more than he typically was in former systems. Obviously, he's still going to have the ability to run. He's still going to have the ability to stretch and break open plays with his legs. But I think that Cam Newton could very well pass for over 4,000 passing yards this season, along with over 20 touchdowns, potentially 25, around his average interception rate, probably around 13 to 15 maybe. But his rushing yards could be anywhere between 500 to 600, maybe even 700 at a really high ceiling, and about 5 more touchdowns. So Cam Newton's gonna bring a lot to the Patriots offense. If he is gonna be the starting quarterback, that's the early prediction here. I can't imagine it's gonna be a huge quarterback battle. The talent and the resume of Cam Newton is gonna be pretty undeniable come the potential training camp. The reduced preseason, shortened to 2 games, is going to be really interesting to see. The quarterback battle is only going to happen for a couple of weeks in front of the fans. So really curious to see how things are going to work, but I think Cam Newton's going to bring more to the table than potentially Jarrett Stidham, and I think the New England Patriots season this year is going to be a really interesting one to watch. How good is Cam Newton going to be? Well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and find out. But thank you so much for watching the video. You can check out all my social medias in the description below. Feel free to stick around and watch some more content. Subscribe while you're here. Get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. Like, comment, share, all the good stuff, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Adios.